Hey, let's go over some Spurs news that you may have missed and then continue our draft prospect spotlight, this time talking about Donovan Clingan.
You are Locked On Spurs, your daily San Antonio Spurs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Happy Friday. Welcome back to Locked On Spurs right here on the Locked On NBA Network. I'm your host, Jeff Garcia, Spurs beat writer for Ken's 5 San Antonio. Glad to have y'all back. Hope everybody is having a great end of the work week. And we're going to wrap things up here for this week on Locked On Spurs. Today's episode is brought to you by PrizePicks, the easiest, exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. You want to go to PrizePicks.com/LockedOnNBA right now. Use code all lowercase LockedOnNBA for a first deposit match up to $100. What are we talking about today? Go over some quick Spurs news and notes that you may have missed, and then bring in our guest, Jack Thompson. Yes, he's back for this week. We're going to be putting into the draft spotlight Donovan Clingan. Should the Spurs get him at number 4, maybe number 8? What does he bring? Pros, cons, all that good stuff. And then talk about you guys, Locked On Spurs fans, and your comments leaving at the Locked On Spurs YouTube page. But first, some Spurs news and notes that you may have missed. And this is for all you Wemby card collectors, but this is going to be pretty unique. So Topps recently announced they have a new series of cards that are available. So Topps Series 2. Okay, well, within there, they're releasing a new line called First Pitch. So basically, it's highlighting anybody who's ever done a first pitch for any team. So, for example, if I did it for the Astros, it'll be a first pitch card of me at the Astros game. Well, remember, Wemby, before he made it to the NBA, actually the day before the draft, he threw out the first pitch for the New York Yankees. So here's a little trivia for you. His first ever pro-American jersey that he wore was not a Spurs jersey. It was a New York Yankees jersey. He threw out the pitch last year, in June 2023 for the Yankees. Well, now they have the first pitch cards. So it has him in a Yankees uniform, sunglasses, has the ball, throwing toss up in the air. It's available now. You can go to Topps.com or just your local retailer and get yourself a box. I think you will need the hobby box, which is about $89. Within there are packs. Could be a chance for you to get the Wemby card. And by the way, it's not just a card. It's even autographed by him too. So if you're looking to add to your collection and the unique one, a Wemby baseball card, not a basketball card, baseball card, this is your chance. So Topps has that now. Again, just go to your local card shop. Maybe they might have a box, buy it, press your luck. Maybe you might get that Wemby card. In Austin Spurs news, they have announced 6 priority dates for the 2024-25 Austin Spurs season. So what is priority date? So basically, every time a team, in this case the Austin Spurs, share a venue, the H-E-B Center up in Austin, they have to share that venue with other concerts and shows and teams. Well, they have announced 6 dates that they will no doubt have those dates. They are Saturday, December 7th, January the 10th, January 11th, January 4th, January 25, February 27th. It's a school day game. So yeah, those are priority dates, meaning like those dates will not shift. They will be there for you guys if you want to make the trip to Austin, check out the Austin Spurs, or if you're in Austin right now and want to make the trip to the H-E-B Center, those dates are set in stone. And speaking of the Austin Spurs, yesterday, I mentioned how the Spurs are having a viewing party for the draft. I can't believe the draft is just in a few short weeks. But they're also going to be having a viewing party for the draft as well up in Austin. So if you're there, you want to go there now. So here are the details. So the Austin Watch Party is going to be at Bolden Acres South. That's 2027 South Lamar Boulevard. Austin Spurs have announced there'll be music, raffles, giveaways, so much more. They're asking to RSVP if you can. You still get a free drink ticket. You don't have to RSVP, but they encourage it. And those free drink tickets are pretty much limited supply, so get there early. So it's on Wednesday, June 26th. Their party starts at 6 o'clock, just like the San Antonio Watch Party starts at 6 o'clock at the Frost Plaza in San Antonio. The draft is at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. So this is all for you Spurs fans living in Austin. There it is. The Austin Spurs will be having a Spurs draft watch party. Should be nice. Should be a good one. Yeah. Can you believe the draft is right around the corner, which leads to a nice segue Coming up next, Jack Thompson, former San Antonio Spurs star, joins me. We're going to put into the draft spotlight Donovan Clingan. There is some chance that the big man could fall to the Spurs at 4. If that happens, should the Spurs get him? Should they select him? Pros, cons. He's a big dude, but, would he fit in today's modern NBA? We'll be discussing that and then get to your Locked On Spurs YouTube fan comments. That's next right here on Locked On Spurs. But first, I want to talk to you about PrizePicks. You got to get PrizePicks right now. Get America's #1 fantasy sports app with more than 5 million users. The most fun, exciting way to get in all the action while you can with your favorite sports and players. You pick more or less on 2 or more player stat projections for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. So what do they got? Why should you download and get PrizePicks? Well, PrizePicks is available in more than 30 states across the country, including California, Texas, and Georgia. What else? PrizePicks even offers injury insurance, so that your lineups stay in play even if one of your players gets injured this basketball season. If you have a player who exits the game in the first half and does not return the second, PrizePicks will have your back and not count that as a loss. With PrizePicks, you could turn $10 into $1,000 game watching your favorite sports this summer. You can make a PrizePicks lineup in as little as 60 seconds. You just need to pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections, and you're locked in. Yes, there's always action on PrizePicks, and it's a perfect time to try out something new as basketball is winding down. Make sure you try out esports this month, because every Wednesday and Saturday in June, if your lineup doesn't win, you'll get your entry fee back. Choose from Counter-Strike, Call of Duty, League of Legends, so much more. Go get PrizePicks app right now. I got it. You should too. Download the app today. Use code LOCKEDONNBA for a first deposit match up to $100. Again, the code is LOCKEDONNBA. First deposit match up to $100. PrizePicks. Pick more, pick less. It is that easy.
A Jedi uses the Force. To subscribe to Locked On Spurs, pass on what you have learned.
And back to wrap up the week right here on Locked On Spurs is once again Jack Thompson. Follow him on X at Jack_Thompson, formerly with San Antonio Sports Star. I think y'all know why he's here, right? You can just pretty much see it on your screen right now. We're continuing our series leading up to the NBA draft, draft prospect spotlight. We've done, how many have we done, Jack? We did Buzelis. We're going to do Clingan today. I think, what's we put in the spotlight?
Connect, Reed,
yeah.
Dillingham,
Reed. Yeah.
Castle.
Whew.
Yeah, we've ran through a bunch.
We went through a bunch, but we're not done yet. There's plenty of players that could possibly land at the Spurs #4 and #8 pick. And as mentioned, it's Clingan. Now, Jack, the first thing we said before you even hit record for this episode is, that's a big boy, huh? He is a big dude, man. Tell us about his physical, just his abilities right there, and why he makes fit with the Spurs.
I mean, 7'2", 280,
Oof.
massive dude. Comes into the league, he got at least 80 pounds on Wemby. So
yeah, gonna bully Wemby if the Spurs draft him.
Yeah, he's got the body, ready for the NBA, no doubt about that. He's going to be able to step in and immediately hold his own against any big in the NBA with his size.
Yeah, when I look at him, my first thought was, okay, yeah, that's a big boy, but is he a big that NBA teams want? He's not a Wemby. He's not a joker that can stretch the floor. Why would teams be interested in him if he's not in the mold of the modern NBA big?
Well, you say that he can't stretch the floor. I'm not sure if you've seen any of his, combine videos or anything like that. Any of his personal workouts. He's got a jumper. He can stretch it out to the 3. He really projects to be, a Brook Lopez type player. He can step out, hit the 3. He's got a high basketball IQ. He's great at passing out of the double team. Great at hitting cutters, in the mid post or off the 3 when they're wrapping around him or cutting through.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, obviously with the size, he's a great positional rebounder. He's excellent in the lob around the rim. He's pretty athletic for a big dude his size. Got pretty good feet. Yeah, I mean, he gonna protect the rim. He's an NBA big. He's on that Brook Lopez sort of trajectory on where his ultimate form could probably lie, is somewhere between Brook Lopez, Alperen Sengun. Not quite as mobile, and he's not as small as Sengun, but he can handle the ball a little bit, shoot it a little bit. So yeah, I think he's definitely going to be able to carve out a role for himself in the NBA for quite a while.
Yeah, my comp when I was reading up on him, Jakob Poeltl, would that be a good comp? Kind of a
Yeah,
Jakob
I
Poeltl
mean,
mode. Yeah.
Jakob Poeltl's a solid comp, but he's got a much better shooting touch than Jakob
Hmm.
has and probably ever will develop in the league. So, yeah, I
Yeah.
like the Jakob comp. Jakob, defensively, he's more athletic, can probably move his feet a little bit
Yeah.
better than Donovan. But yeah, Jakob's a solid comp.
If for some reason he falls to number 4 and the Spurs are on the board and they take him, I wouldn't be mad at it at all. My first thought is like, wow, pairing him with Wemby, he would alleviate a lot of the bumping and bruising, kind of like what David did for Timmy. Taking on the big beast of the NBA during his time. Clingan could do the same for Wemby. He could take on Joker. That's 6 fouls. I'd rather have 6 fouls on Clingan than I would have on Wemby. Uh, so I like that if the Spurs were to select him again, a big to pair with Wemby would be nice. No knock on Zach Collins, but defensively, he's probably better than Zach Collins right now. What do you think?
Yeah, I would certainly put him
Hmm.
better than Zach Collins. He probably doesn't have maybe the guard switchability that Zach Collins can show sometimes, but yeah, in the post, I mean, 7'2", 280.
Hmm.
That's bigger than Jokic. That's
Hmm.
as big as Embiid. Like he's comes in with the size to really match physically with anybody in the
Yeah.
league. And yeah, I mean, if we took him at 4, it's not a sexy pick. It's not a pick that is gonna blow me out of
Yeah.
the water, but it's a functional pick. He's gonna come in, and like you said, he's gonna take those challenges of guarding the bigs and that Wemby, that's extra energy that Wemby gets to
Hmm.
conserve for the offensive end, and that's also, extra punishment that Wemby is not taking. That in
Yep.
the end could prolong his career or his minutes just that much more. So, yeah,
Hmm.
taking Klingon at 4, while it's not the top of my board, it's not the sexiest pick. It would be
Hmm.
a good pick, and I would not be upset with it.
Yeah, he eats up a lot of space. Runs the pick and roll well. I mean, that'd be devastating for any opponent playing against the Spurs with Wemby ability to pick and roll, Klingan ability to pick and roll. I mean, that's just you got athletic, thin, silky smooth Wemby, then you got the bruiser Klingan
Mhm.
coming at you. Pick your poison opponents taking on the Spurs. One thing you talk about like that's a very not non-sexy pick, very Spurs like pick
Mhm.
because interesting to note that he started his at least last season on the bench, and then he got into the starting lineup towards the championship run for them. I like the fact he can check his ego coming off that bench or starting role. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, he came off the bench, but he started off the year a little banged up.
Hmm.
He was by far their best center. I mean, they had another, he was pretty solid, but he came off the bench 2 years ago too, and they won it as well. They had an NBA big on that team, Sanogo, who was dominant. But yeah,
Hmm.
Clingan, his ability to check his ego. He's a 2-time national championship winner in
Hmm.
the NCAA, so obviously he's a winner. He knows the work that it takes to get to where you want to be, and
Hmm.
yeah, I think it's a very Spurs pick. He's a workhorse guy, going to come in every day, do his job,
Yeah.
not complain about it, battle with the bigs, bruise up every night, not complain about it. It's a solid pick for the Spurs culture. It's a solid pick to build the team around if we're going the Twin Towers route. And yeah, that's just the thought of letting Wimby be able to thrive in his role at the 4 rather than the 5 is definitely a big deal. And I think it would be a really good pick for the Spurs if we did happen to go Klingon at 4.
When I look at Klingan again, I still I see him like wow, if only he was entering the NBA during the era of Shaq and Ewing and Robinson,
Yep.
Duncan, because he would have been probably one of the best. Maybe
Oh, I mean,
that
he
that
and
yeah
Edie would have gone 1 and 2. It would have been
yeah
1 Zach Edey,
yeah
2 Donovan Clingan,
done Klingan yeah
unanimous. Yeah.
yeah exactly. And but you fast forward to today. And when I look at him, no, like we mentioned mountain of a dude, big boy, rebounding, pick and roll. You mentioned like he can spread the floor somewhat, but the lack of versatility, he can't play a four. I mean, he looks like he has to be a five, and that's it. How much do you
Yeah.
think that would impact if you're in the Spurs war room and Klingan's on the draft board? You're like, man, but we really can't use him other than just a five.
I think the fact that you have Wimby totally negates that. I mean, I think you look at, the better teams around the NBA, they've got players that, the Minnesota, you got Gobert, he's a five. You got the Nuggets, Jokic, he's a five. Embiid, he's the five. There's nothing wrong with having a guy who's just going to play that starting center role. What it does, it does, unless you're a superstar like Jokic and Embiid, it does sort of negate how much minutes you can play. He's never going to play, 30, 40 minutes a night because that's just not the type of player that he is. But, give him a solid 25 minutes. He's going to go in there, bang around, grab rebounds, block shots, dunk the ball on people. Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's not a super versatile guy, but he knows what he needs to do, and he goes in and he does it really well. So I don't think that's going to impact his NBA career at all.
Yeah. He's not a good free throw shooter. I think he hovered around 60% from the free throw line in college. So that's going to need work. I'm not worried about that. I think that can only get better. The NBA,
Yeah.
whatever NBA team picks him, whether it be Spurs or whoever, they'll work with him in that. But lack doesn't really have that much explosiveness, which worries me if the Spurs would select him because going up against like an Embiid who's very explosive, Jalen Duren, athletic, big. Uh, oof. But I think all in all, he's going to be a solid player. Would you consider him an immediate impact player if the Spurs were to draft him, or do you think he might need some seasoning?
I mean, he's definitely going to need a little seasoning, but I think he comes in and he makes an immediate impact. I mean, the dude's 7'2", 280. He's a space eater.
Yeah.
He's going to come in, he's going to protect the paint, he's going to bang with the bigs, and it's going to be tough for oppositional bigs. You want to post up on him, go ahead, 7'2", 280. Try and move him around. It's not going to be an easy task. So, yeah, I think just with his size, he has a good basketball IQ. I mean, he's coming from Don Hurley, who has shown us that he's one of the best coaches in the world right now, regardless of NCAA or level. So he was, the Lakers were just trying to chase after him. So obviously they believe that Don can coach at an NBA level. And this is a guy who's played for him for 2 years and won 2 championships. So you've got to imagine that a lot of basketball IQ has been poured into Klingan. So I think he's going to be a pretty good passing big for sure. I think he's going to be able to hit cutters, be the dribble handoff, all that sort of thing. I think he's definitely going to be able to thrive in that role as well. So I think he comes
Yeah.
in and defensively specifically, he's going to make an immediate impact.
Yeah. Entering the NCAA tournament, this is crazy stat I just found out right now. Opponents only shot 3 of 26 against Klingan in the post.
Mm.
Jeez.
A
Yeah, he could
lot of
start. He
that
looks.
is
Yeah.
there's no one to match his size in the NCAA. Like he's
Hmm.
just swallowing other posts up with his size. And
Hmm.
when even against Edey, though, that we saw in the national championship, he made it very difficult for Zach Edey, two-time National Player of the Year,
He
to
did.
score on the block.
Hmm.
So he's ready for the NBA. He's gonna defend at a high level in the post. There's no doubt about that. It's just when he gets switched on to guards in the pick and roll, is he able to get any sort of stop there, slow down the ball?
Hmm.
That has yet to be seen, and that will definitely he will be picked on for in the league
Yeah.
with his size. So we'll see how he does, in that realm of defense. But as far as, guarding the bigs, rotating over for blocks, help side, all that, I think he's going to be a big impact to whatever team he goes to right away.
Yeah, I see defenses allowing him to take a perimeter shot. Just test the kid, All right, go
Oh,
for it. You
yeah.
can take a midi, go for it, and see what you got. You can take a three, deep three, look wide open to see what you got. Because he rarely took threes in college. But he didn't really have to because you mentioned he was just a mountain. Nobody
Yeah.
could really stop him, maybe outside of Edie, but that's about it. And I think that's probably going to be his biggest adjustment is playing against guys that are his size now or
Yeah.
power bigger,
Mhm.
stronger, faster.
Mhm.
How is he going to adapt to that? Do you think that was probably could hit his stock? Because right now he's projected top 10. You've seen Mock say number one overall.
Mhm.
Where do you think he would fall? Do you think he could possibly land at number four and the Spurs possibly grabbing him?
Yeah, I mean, I think he could definitely land at 4. We've said it multiple times. You're looking at the draft, the top 2, it's looking like it's gonna be Sarr or Ricochet in some sort of order. Then that leaves the 3rd pick, which I believe is Houston, correct?
Correct.
Houston, they're not gonna draft Klingon. They've got Sengun, they've got their starting center, they've got Jabari who plays the 4. So I really don't see them drafting um Klingan. It'd be an interesting pick for them to do so because they do need a point guard with Fred Van Vliet. He's seen
Hmm.
younger days, so it would be a shocker to see them go Klingan there. So I think, yeah, I mean, I think at 4 we're gonna have a tough decision ahead of us at 4 whether we want Klingan or Matas
Hmm.
or do we go Steven Castle if he's still
Yeah.
there? There's going to be a tough decision for the Spurs at 4, and I think Klingan will definitely still be there unless there's a shocker of a pick
You're
in
right.
the first 3.
So based on what I'm hearing right now is Jack Thompson would not be mad at the end of the night or after four, Clean's off the board and he's wearing the San Antonio draft day cap. It wouldn't be horrible, but do you think they can be better suited elsewhere? For example, if Bucelis is on the board or Castle's on the board. You think you at that point you just got to pass on Clingan?
It's tough, man. It really
Yeah.
depends on what we're going for with our team next year. If we're going to sort of, I would say if we're looking to be immediately better out the gate, then Klingan is probably the pick to go.
Hmm.
Because he's that big, because he can allow Wemby to step into that starting 4 role, I think Klingan makes the most impact of, let's say, Castle, Matas, and
Hmm.
Klingan at 4. We're looking at those
Yeah.
3 on the board. He comes in, I think he makes the most immediate impact of all those 3
Hmm.
because I think playing a big takes the least transition time into the NBA.
Hmm.
You're a big. You could just go be big, go box out,
Yeah.
rebound, dunk on
Yeah.
people. Just do what you've done your whole life. If we're looking for long-term upside, future NBA stardom, I feel like Matas is that pick because he's got that prototypical Jason Tatum body,
Hmm.
that stretch four, can handle, shoot, all the multifaceted player. If we're looking for guard defense right out of the gate, we're looking for someone to lock up the best guard, give you all he's got, and could develop into a pretty nice offensive weapon, but maybe
Hmm.
never an all NBA guard. Stephen Castle, I mean, there's no one,
Hmm.
not a better defender in the draft than him. He's
Yeah.
he's a dog on defense, and there's something to be said about that because you see what those boys up in Boston are doing right now
Oh yeah.
with Derek Wright and Drew Holiday. I mean, if you've got guards that can defend at a high level and can also be trusted with the scoring next to stars, I mean, they're
Hmm.
next to Brown and Tatum, but they know how to take a back seat but step up when they need to. I mean, that's a huge, huge thing in the NBA right now. So,
Hmm.
all those are really top 3 at 4 right there. I would say are going to be Castle, Matas, and Klingan for the Spurs. I feel like are all going to be fantastic picks for us in their own way.
Absolutely. He is Jack Thompson, formerly with San Antonio Sports Star. Follow him on X at Jack_Thompson33. Yeah, I'm with you right there. I think if the Spurs were to select him, I wouldn't be mad. I'm not gonna be mad. I'll be okay. Good. That's lessening the
A
pressure
lot
valve
of
for
pressure off Wemby.
yeah,
Yep.
Wemby. Yeah, but what does that do to Zach Collins though? Does that displace him?
I think Zach
He stay
Collins is better suited off the
to the
bench.
bench off the bench.
Yeah, I
Okay.
mean,
Yeah.
I think he was much better off the bench down the stretch of the season. A lot less pressure on him to go out and,
Hmm.
you know, produce right away in the starting
Yeah.
minutes. And truthfully, I mean, the contract that we gave Zach Collins is a very tradable contract.
Mm-hmm.
So his life with the Spurs could be coming to an end here in the next year or so because that contract's going to get easier and
Yeah.
easier to move. So
Yeah.
I think right now off the bench is perfectly fine for Zach. And if he doesn't last for the long haul, it was nice knowing you.
And even if it is, for a temporary time, not a bad triple-headed big guys, man. Collins,
Yeah.
Clingan, and Wemby. Woof, that'll be nice for the Spurs. All right, when we get back, we're going to discuss you guys, the Locked On Spurs fans. You guys are leaving a lot of comments. What are y'all talking about? That's next right here on Locked On Spurs.
What up, Doc? This is Bugs Bunny, and you are listening to my best friend Jeff Garcia, host of Locked On Spurs.
I want to talk about LinkedIn Talent Solutions. When you're hiring for a small business, you want to find quality professionals that are right for the role. That's where you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools you need to help find you the right professionals for your team faster and for free. Look, LinkedIn is not just another job board. LinkedIn has a vast network of more than 1 billion professionals, which makes it the place to hire. It gives you access to professionals you can't find anywhere else. LinkedIn does all that while making the process easy and intuitive. Hiring is easy when you have that many quality candidates. So easy, in fact, that 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. LinkedIn knows that small businesses wear so many hats may not have the time or resources to hire. LinkedIn is constantly finding new ways to make that process easier. They even launched a feature that helps you write better job descriptions, making the process easier, quicker. 2.5 million small businesses are using LinkedIn for hiring. You should too. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNBA. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnNBA to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Hey, welcome back. That guy on your screen, he is Jack Thompson. Follow him on X at Jack_Thompson. Let him know what you think about his thoughts on the draft prospects. What is that? Is that the old Clippers? Who was that?
Three
Darius
point
Miles?
goggles.
Yeah, the three.
Yeah.
Well, Patty Mills did that too. Remember that?
Yeah. A lot of people have done that.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
We were just yeah. Well, now we can add Jack Thompson to the list that he does that too. Yeah. But make sure to follow him on X. You see it on your screen and let him know what you're thinking when it comes to the NBA draft, lottery, all that. Oh, draft stud lottery's done, but at least the draft and so much more. All right, it's your turn, guys. Locked On Spurs fan comments. I'm looking at them right now. We got 2 queued up here for you. The first one is a reaction, Jack, about our Mata spotlight. And here we go. This is from Sam-UZ41Y. You guys got crazy handles on YouTube. But thank you, Sam, for this comment. Here we go. Jack, he says, if Matas is projected to be like Sohan, I don't think he is, but if he is, I think the Spurs would skip him in all honesty. Sohan, while he isn't a miss, his production is rough for a top 10 pick. We really don't need to bring in more long-term projects that can shoot or clog the paint. What do you think about that? He's saying Monta's projected to be Sohan. I don't think so. Excuse me. But I think at the same time, I know you're gonna say you can't skip him if he's at you're on the board and he's at number 4 and you're up and he's there.
Yeah, I mean like I said, Matas is my number 1 on my big board. He's what everyone wants in a 4 or a 3 in the NBA these days. 6'10", 6'10" wingspan, super bouncy, shoots the ball already way better than Jeremy. He's got great form. His form, it might need to be tweaked and tightened a little bit, but Jeremy's had to be completely broken down and
Yeah.
recreated from the bottom. Like we've seen Jeremy shooting one hand free throws to get that follow through right. So Matas is not near going to have to go through what Jeremy had to do. I also don't think, I mean, Jeremy has grown exponentially each season with his play. I definitely don't think he's a miss at all in the top 10. He's still just really scratching the surface of what he could be as a player. And I don't think Jeremy's a paint clogger by any stretch
Yeah,
whatsoever.
me neither.
Whatsoever.
Yeah.
He's excellent around the rim. He'll put you in the rim. He's great at finishing. While he's not a fantastic shooter, he's definitely made strides to be a better
Mm-hmm.
one and is knocking down open threes. So I
Yeah.
think a combination of Wimby, Jeremy, and Matas would be a scary offensive threesome to go
Yeah.
up against. I mean, any of them can handle the ball in the pick and roll. Any of them can set the screen in the pick and roll. So That's a lot for an opposing defense to handle. So yeah, if Maltas is there, he's still my number one grab for the Spurs. But if we went Castle or Klingan at 4, I would not be upset whatsoever.
Yeah, same thing here. Yeah. Sohan, for me, the jury's still out on him. To give him at least one more season, this upcoming one. Because I think at this point, you guys like Keldon. I think Keldon, he is what he is already. You really can't expect much more. I mean, unless he's in the lab right now, do something tremendous, up his game, work with Olajuwon or somebody like that, work on his whatever. But yeah, I think Keldon is Keldon. Sohan still has some room in his ceiling to reach. So we'll see what he says. But thank you, Sam, for that comment. We appreciate it. Jack, the next comment is from Richard Balderas2246. He has a trade proposal for us. Okay.
Beautiful.
What do you think about trading our 4th pick and a player to the Blazers for Anthony Simons and their 7th? We could probably draft Holland and connect at 7. So he's proposing trading down. The Spurs, they get their need for a point guard, at least a scoring guard, check Anthony Simons, and you still get a top 10 pick. What do you think about that trade scenario?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a fantastic trade scenario. If we went, it's probably Keldon is the guy who's got the 1 foot out the door amongst the better players on the Spurs right now. So if we went Keldon, and so it was 4 and 8.
No, just 4.
Oh, so we would be picking 7 and 8.
7, 8. Yeah.
Oh, then yeah, I would absolutely do that. I think first off, Anthony Simons is one of the best slept on guards in the NBA. I mean, he's an absolute bucket getter. He shoots the ball at a high rate, gets to the rim. Yeah, I would definitely. Anthony Simons with 8 and 7 added to this Spurs roster would really come in and do some damage to the league, I feel like. So yeah, I would be totally about that. Especially if you add like Cody Williams, Ron Holland, or Dalton Connect, any of those 3 with those 2 picks.
Oh, forget about it. Yeah.
That's a super revamped roster with a lot of athleticism.
A lot of firepower. Yeah.
A lot of firepower. Yeah, I would be absolutely about that trade. That's a fantastic trade proposal.
Yeah. That's a great. Thank you, Balderas, for that comment. We appreciate it. I think that's the second time we read one of his comments. So keep it coming there, buddy. Keep them coming. Hey, we got to let Jack go. He has to get to work soon. So Jack, look at him. See, he's like, no, don't. Actually, he's probably saying, no, don't let me go. I don't want to go to work. Yeah.
Don't.
He is Jack Thompson. Follow him on X at Jack_Thompson. We're not done with him. He'll likely be back next week, putting other players in the spotlight. We'll let you know who will that be once Jack is on and you guys
2 weeks, maybe 2 weeks.
2 more weeks, and it's here. We'll see what the Spurs do. Jack, as always, we appreciate it. Follow him on X at Jack_Thompson33. He is formerly with San Antonio Spurs. They're showing you the 3 goggles there. Give him a follow right now for those 3 goggles. Hey, we'll be back next week with more Spurs discussions, silver and black talk, as the draft is inching closer, and of course, any other big news that pops up between now and then. And subscribe to Locked On Spurs, Kids 5 Plus app, iTunes, Spotify, YouTube. The list goes on and on. Just give us a sub right now. Check out Locked On Sports Today, 24/7 streaming channel only on YouTube, brought to you by the Locked On Podcast Network. Go subscribe to that as well. So for Jack Thompson, or Jack 3 Goggles Thompson, I am Jeff Garcia. We're going to put a lock in this episode of Locked On Spurs.